My fiancé messaged my best man. I can't wait until after the wedding for us to sort everything out, while my groomsmen covered up their affair. I let them celebrate, then exposed them with a video at the rehearsal dinner. Could you imagine standing at the altar, looking at the love of your life and your best friend, thinking you're the luckiest man alive, only to realize they've both been stabbing you in the back for months? What would you do if your fiancé was sleeping with your best man and every single one of your closest friends knew about it? That was my reality. My name is Lucas, and just 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to be a married firefighter. Now, I honestly don't know what the hell I am. Haley, my fiancée, she's a pediatric nurse. Sweet, caring, got along great with my family. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. Everything felt solid, like, really solid. The kind of relationship where you just know. You know? I also have this core group of guys I've been tight with since high school. Evan was my best man. Then there's Derek, Jonah, and Kyle, my groomsmen. These guys have been through everything with me. When my dad passed, when I got injured on the job, when I proposed to Haley. They were helping plan the bachelor trip. We'd already done suit fittings, taste-tested the menu together. 12 years of friendship, brothers for life, or so I thought. But then, things started feeling off. About 2 months ago, I noticed Haley and Evan were texting a lot more than usual. Like, an unusual amount. She'd be giggling at her phone, and when I'd ask what was so funny, she'd just wave it off. Oh, Evan sent something about the bachelor party. Okay, fine. He's planning it. Makes sense, right? But then Evan started being weirdly helpful with wedding stuff. He'd show up when I was on shift to help Haley with vendor calls. He knew details about the wedding that I didn't even know. And whenever the guys and I would hang out, they'd get quiet when I walked into a room, then quickly change the subject. It was subtle, but it was there. Haley also started pulling away from me physically. Every time I tried to initiate anything, she'd say she was stressed about the wedding, too tired, not in the mood. For 2 months straight. I'm not the jealous type, and I trust people, probably too easily. But something just felt wrong. It was like being in a burning building. You can't see the fire yet, but you can feel that something's off with the air. So, I started paying closer attention. Last week, I was working a night shift. Haley texted me around 9 p.m. saying she was exhausted and going to bed early. I tried to FaceTime her around 10:30 just to say goodnight, but she didn't pick up. Then she texted back, "I'm already asleep. We'll talk tomorrow, babe." Here's the thing, though. Our apartment building has security cameras in the hallways. I get notifications on my phone whenever someone approaches our door. At 10:47 p.m., I got a notification. My heart started pounding. I checked the camera feed. It was Evan. I watched him knock. I watched Haley open the door. And I watched her pull him inside. He didn't leave until 12:23 a.m. An hour and 36 minutes. I sat in my car at the fire station for 20 minutes, just staring at my phone. Part of me wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation. Maybe a wedding emergency? Maybe he needed relationship advice? But then I rewound the footage and watched it again. The way she pulled him in, the way she looked up and down the hallway first, the way they stood so close in the doorway for a few seconds before going inside. I knew. My gut clenched. I went back further through the camera history. This wasn't the first time. There were 4 other instances over the past 6 weeks. Always when I was on night shift. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't. Even after my shift ended, I went to the station gym and punched the heavy bag until my knuckles bled through the tape. I'm not the kind of guy who flies off the handle. I think things through. So I thought. And I realized something that made everything even worse. The guys had been acting weird for 2 months. The same 2 months this had been going on. They knew. All of them knew. My best man was sleeping with my fiancé, and my other groomsmen were covering for them. The guys who were supposed to stand next to me at my wedding, who I trusted with everything, who I considered brothers, they all knew I was being made a fool of, and they said nothing. You know what the worst part is? In 3 weeks, I would have married her. I would have stood at that altar, looked at Evan next to me as my best man, seen the other guys lined up as my groomsmen, and I would have thought I was the luckiest guy in the world. surrounded by the woman I love and my best friends. But I would have been the only one there who didn't know the truth. I'm not letting that happen. I have the camera footage saved. I have timestamps for all of it. And I'm about to find out just how deep this betrayal goes. Tomorrow, I'm confronting Evan. Not Haley. I want to hear it from my best man first. I want to see if he'll tell me the truth, or if he'll lie to my face like he's been doing for the past 2 months. And then, I'm going to make sure everyone knows what they did. Every single person who was supposed to stand by my side and chose to stab me in the back instead. I don't know what happens after that, but I know one thing. I'm not walking into that wedding blind. A lot of people asked why I didn't just cancel the wedding. I needed to know who knew. I needed to see how many people I trusted were in on this. And yeah, maybe part of me wanted them to face what they did in front of everyone. It's been 3 days since all of that. And holy hell, it's so much worse than I thought. I confronted Evan yesterday morning. I told him I needed to talk, just the two of us. We met at this coffee shop we used to go to all the time back in college. I didn't waste time. I pulled out my phone and showed him the camera footage. His face went white. Like, paper white. He started with the excuses immediately. Lucas, man, it's not what you think. Then what is it, Evan? He tried to say it was Haley's idea, that she came on to him. That it only happened once or twice, and he'd been trying to end it. That he was drunk. That he felt terrible. Every excuse in the book. Then I showed him the other timestamps. For other visits, all at night, all when I was working. He broke. Just completely broke down, crying, saying he was sorry, that he never meant for it to happen, that he valued our friendship more than anything. And that's when I asked the question I was dreading, who else knows? He looked at me with these guilty, miserable eyes and said, the guys. They know. Derek, Jonah, Kyle, all of them. They'd all known for at least a month. Evan had told Derek first, and Derek had told the others. They'd had multiple conversations about it, about whether to tell me, about what to do. And they decided not to say anything. I asked Evan why. He said they thought it would blow over, that it was just pre-wedding jitters, that Haley really loved me and this was just a mistake. That they didn't want to ruin my wedding over something that might not even matter in a few months. I just stared at him. My best friend of 12 years, the guy who was supposed to stand next to me at my wedding. And he genuinely seemed to believe that letting me marry a woman who was cheating on me was somehow protecting me. I left without saying another word to him. That afternoon, I called an emergency meeting with Derek, Jonah, and Kyle. They knew something was up. They all showed up looking nervous as hell. I laid it all out. I told them I knew about Evan and Haley. I told them I knew they all knew. And I asked them to explain themselves. What happened next? I'm still trying to process it. Instead of apologizing, instead of showing any remorse, they started making excuses. But not for keeping the secret. For Haley. Derek actually had the audacity to say, look, man, you're always on shift. You're never home. Haley was lonely. Can you really blame her for finding comfort somewhere else? Jonah chimed in, it's not like she doesn't love you, Lucas. She just needed something you weren't giving her. Kyle, who I'd known since sophomore year of high school, said, don't blow this up, Lucas. Everyone makes mistakes. You're about to throw away a wedding that's already paid for over some drama. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. These weren't my friends trying to protect me. These were people who saw me as the problem. Who thought that my fiancé cheating with my best man was somehow my fault for working too much, for being a firefighter, for not being available 24/7. But the worst part, when I asked them why they didn't tell me, Derek said, we didn't want to be the ones to mess up your wedding. That's on you to handle. We're just trying to keep the peace. Keep the peace? I said, my voice tight. You were going to let me stand at that altar, marry someone who's been cheating on me with my best man standing right next to me, and you think that's keeping the peace? They didn't have an answer for that. Kyle tried a different approach. Look, the wedding's in 3 weeks. There are deposits. There are people flying in. There are plans. Just get through the wedding. Then you can deal with this privately. Don't embarrass everyone because you can't handle a little adversity. That's when I realized something. These people who I thought were my brothers, who I would have done anything for, they were never really my friends. Not the way I thought they were. I left that meeting with a decision made. I wasn't going to call Haley. I wasn't going to confront her privately. I wasn't going to quietly cancel the wedding and slink away. Tomorrow night is the rehearsal dinner. Both families will be there. All the groomsmen, all the bridesmaids, the priest, the wedding planner, everyone who matters. And that's when I'm going to show them the truth. I've spent the last 2 days preparing. I got into Haley's iCloud. We used to share devices. She never changed the password. I have screenshots of her texts with Evan. Messages about how they need to be more careful. How she can't wait until after the wedding when they can figure things out. How Evan said he was falling for her, but needed to make it through the ceremony first. I have the camera footage, timestamped and compiled. I have a recording from yesterday's meeting with the guys, including Derek's comment about letting me marry her and dealing with it privately later, and Kyle's suggestion to go through with the wedding to avoid embarrassment. I've put it all on a USB drive. Tomorrow night, when everyone's gathered for the rehearsal dinner, I'm going to tell them I want to show a special video. A slideshow of our journey together. And then I'm going to show them everything. They all thought they could protect their own comfort, their own friendships, their own reputations by keeping me in the dark. Tomorrow night, everyone learns the truth at the same time. I don't even know where to start. Last night was the most surreal experience of my life. The rehearsal dinner started normally enough. Both families were there, all dressed up. My mom kept tearing up, saying how proud my dad would have been. Haley's parents were beaming. The bridesmaids were taking photos. The groomsmen were joking around like nothing was wrong. Evan couldn't look me in the eye, but he was playing his part. Haley kept squeezing my hand under the table, smiling at me like we were the happiest couple in the world. The priest gave a little speech about marriage and commitment. Haley's mom cried. My uncle made a toast. Everyone was laughing and drinking and celebrating. And I sat there, completely calm, with a USB drive in my pocket. After dinner, before dessert was served, I stood up and clinked my glass. Everyone got quiet. Thank you all for being here, I said. It means the world to me and Haley to have everyone we love in one room, supporting us as we take this next step. Before we wrap up tonight, I put together a little video. A slideshow of our journey together. Haley hasn't seen it yet. I wanted it to be a surprise. Everyone smiled. Haley looked at me with these bright, loving eyes. The wedding planner dimmed the lights. Someone hooked up my laptop to the projector. The screen lit up. At first, it was normal. Photos of Haley and me from our first date, our first vacation, the proposal. Everyone was smiling. Some people were tearing up. Then the music stopped. The next slide was a screenshot of a text message. From Haley to Evan. I can't stop thinking about last night. We need to be more careful, though. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Then came the camera footage. Evan knocking on my apartment door. Haley pulling him inside. The timestamp clearly visible. 10:47 p.m. Then another timestamp, 12:23 a.m. when he left. Haley gasped. She grabbed my arm. Lucas, what are you? Turn it off. But I didn't. The next slide showed more texts. Evan saying, we'll figure this out after the wedding. Just need to get through the ceremony. Then came another clip, different night, same thing. Then came the recording from my conversation with the groomsmen. Derek's voice, crystal clear, just get through the wedding, then you can deal with this privately. Kyle's voice, don't blow this up over some drama. The lights came on. Complete silence. Haley was standing now, face red, tears streaming down. Lucas, please. I can explain. Explain what? I said, and my voice was steady. Calm. Explain how you've been sleeping with my best man for 2 months? Explain how you were planning to figure things out after the wedding? Explain how you were going to let me marry you while you were in love with someone else. Her mom was crying. Her dad looked like he wanted to disappear. My mom was just staring at Haley like she'd never seen her before. Evan was already backing toward the door. Derek, Jonah, and Kyle looked like they wanted to run. But it got worse. One of the bridesmaids, Avery, suddenly burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Lucas. I saw them 3 weeks ago in the parking lot of the venue. They were kissing. I didn't know what to do. I thought if I said something, I'd ruin the wedding. I'm so sorry. 2 other bridesmaids admitted they'd suspected something, too, but didn't want to cause drama. So, it wasn't just my groomsmen. Half the wedding party knew. Haley tried to approach me, but I stepped back. Don't, I said. The wedding is canceled. I'll handle the vendors. I'll send out the cancellation notices. You all can figure out your own travel arrangements. Her father stood up. Haley, we're leaving now. Dad, please. No. They left. Most of the bridesmaids followed, some of them crying, some of them just looking shocked. The groomsmen tried to leave, too. But I stopped them. You know what's funny? I said. I didn't even want a big wedding. Haley did. She wanted the venue, the photographer, the band, the whole production. And I said yes because I loved her and I wanted her to be happy. I worked overtime for months to help pay for all of it. Extra shifts, holidays, nights, so she could have her dream wedding. And you guys, I looked at Derek, Jonah, Kyle, you knew. You knew she was cheating. You knew Evan was betraying me. And instead of telling me, instead of having my back, you told me to go through with it anyway because it was convenient for you? Because you didn't want the drama. Lucas, we were trying to protect you, Derek said weakly. Protect me? By letting me marry someone who didn't love me? By standing next to me at my wedding and pretending everything was fine? That's not protection. That's cowardice. Evan was the only one who spoke up. I'm sorry, man. I really am. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen, I said. And you let it keep happening for 2 months. While planning my bachelor party, while doing suit fittings, while pretending to be my best man. I grabbed my jacket. I'm done here. The wedding's canceled. I'll return whatever gifts have already arrived. If anyone wants to know what happened, show them the video. I'm sure it'll make its rounds. I drove home. Haley was already there, packing. She tried to talk to me, but I told her to take what she needed and go stay with her parents. She left crying. And then I just sat there, in the apartment we'd shared for 2 years, where we'd planned our future, where she'd brought my best man while I was out saving lives. I should be getting married tomorrow. Instead, I'm single. I've lost my entire friend group. And everyone in our social circle now knows exactly what happened. But you know what? I don't regret it. Not even a little bit. I'd rather be alone and know the truth than surrounded by people who'd lie to my face. The wedding venue even called to say they found another couple to take the date. So, at least that money won't be completely wasted, I guess. It's been a month since that rehearsal dinner, and I figured I owed you all a final update, since so many of you have been checking in. Let me start with Haley. 3 days after the dinner, she showed up at the fire station. My shift had just ended, and I was walking to my car when I heard her voice behind me. Lucas, please. We need to talk. I turned around and she looked rough, eyes red and swollen. She had this desperate look on her face that I'd never seen before. There's nothing to talk about, I said. There's everything to talk about. Her voice cracked. I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. But it's over with Evan. It's been over. It didn't mean anything. You have to believe me. I don't have to believe anything, I said. I tried to walk past her, but she grabbed my arm. I love you. I've always loved you. This wedding was supposed to be the start of our life together. We can still, Haley, stop. Please. I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. We can move somewhere new. Start fresh. You don't get it, I said, and I pulled my arm free. This isn't about Evan. This is about you. The person I thought I knew would never have done this. So there's no us to save. There never really was. She started crying harder. I was scared. Okay. Scared of the wedding. Scared of commitment. Scared of losing myself. I didn't know how to talk to you about it. And Evan was just there. It was stupid. It was so stupid. But it doesn't have to end everything. You already ended everything, I said, 2 months ago when you made the choice. You being scared didn't justify what you did. That's when she got angry. The tears stopped, and her face twisted into something I didn't recognize. You're really going to throw away 4 years because of one mistake? You're that perfect? You've never messed up. I never slept with your bridesmaid while planning our wedding, I shot back. You were never here, she shouted, loud enough that a couple of guys from my shift turned to look. You were always at work, always on shift, always tired when you were home. What was I supposed to do? Not sleep with my best man, I said. That would have been a good start. Or talk to me. Or break up with me. Or literally anything except what you did. She stood there for a moment, breathing hard, and then she seemed to deflate. My family won't talk to me. My dad can barely look at me. My mom cries every time she sees me. Everyone knows. Everyone in our entire social circle knows what I did. Yeah, I said. That's what happens when you betray someone in front of 50 people. Evan ghosted me, she continued, like she hadn't heard me. 2 days after the dinner, he blocked my number, blocked me on everything. I went to his apartment and his roommate said he'd already moved out. Just left. Didn't even have the guts to face me. She looked up at me with these hollow eyes. I lost you. I lost Evan. I lost my friends. I lost everything. And for what? For 2 months of what? I don't even know what it was. That's something you're going to have to figure out on your own, I said. I have to go. I got in my car and drove away. She was still standing there in the parking lot when I looked in my rearview mirror. That was 3 weeks ago. She's tried to contact me 18 times since then, texts, calls, emails, even a handwritten letter that I didn't even open before throwing it away. She stopped eventually. Derek's wife called me last week, too. That conversation was also intense, but in a different way. She'd heard about what happened, but she wanted to hear it directly from me. I told her everything, including the recording where Derek suggested I just get through the wedding and deal with Haley's cheating privately later. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I've been trying to get pregnant for 6 months. We've been doing IVF, and this whole time I've been wondering why Derek seems so distant, why he's been weird about starting a family. Now I'm wondering if I can trust him at all. I'm sorry, I said, because what else could I say? Don't be, she responded. If my husband is the kind of man who'd help cover up infidelity, who'd encourage his best friend to marry a cheater just to avoid confrontation, then I doubt he'd have any issue cheating himself. I need to know that now, not after we have kids. I found out 2 days ago that she's moved out. She told him she wants space to figure out if she even wants to stay married to someone who has that little integrity. Derek apparently called me 17 times yesterday. I didn't pick up. Not my circus anymore. Evan left town. Like, completely left. One of my coworkers told me he took a transfer to some firehouse in Oregon. Couldn't handle being the guy who slept with his best friend's fiancée everywhere he went. Good riddance. Jonah and Kyle? Haven't heard from them directly, but I ran into someone from our old friend group at the gym. Apparently, word spread fast about what they did, and most people have distanced themselves. When you're known as the guys who helped cover up a major betrayal, turns out other people don't really trust you either. Who knew? But here's where things get interesting and, honestly, kind of great. Remember Avery, the bridesmaid who broke down during the rehearsal dinner and admitted she'd seen Haley and Evan in the parking lot? She reached out about 2 weeks ago. Her message said, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I need you to know how sorry I am. I should have told you what I saw. I was a coward, and you deserved better. You deserve honesty. If you ever want to grab coffee, just to talk or not talk, I'm here. I didn't respond right away. I needed to think about whether I even wanted anything to do with anyone connected to that wedding. But something about her message felt genuine, like she actually understood the weight of what had happened. So last week, we met for coffee. It was supposed to be just one conversation, maybe get some closure. But we ended up talking for 3 hours. She told me she'd felt sick ever since she saw Haley and Evan that day. That she'd almost told me a dozen times, but kept chickening out. I was prioritizing Haley's comfort over your right to know the truth, she said. And that was wrong. I'm not asking for forgiveness, but I needed you to know that I see how messed up that was. The thing is, I believed her. And more than that, we just clicked. She asked about my work. I asked about hers. We talked about music, about books, about completely normal things that had nothing to do with the disaster that brought us together. We've grabbed coffee 3 more times since then. And okay, yeah, maybe there's something there. Maybe. But I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not looking for a rebound or trying to prove something. I'm just enjoying spending time with someone who doesn't lie to me. I moved out of the apartment. Too many memories. Too much of Haley everywhere. I found a smaller place on the east side of town, closer to the station. It's a one-bedroom with hardwood floors and a balcony that gets morning sun. I was supposed to get married last month. Instead, I got my life back. Haley sent me one final message last week. I ruined everything. I ruined us. I ruined your trust in people. I'll never forgive myself. I hope someday you can. I didn't respond. Not because I'm angry anymore, but because I just don't care. She's not my problem anymore. Her guilt is hers to carry, not mine. I should be on my honeymoon right now. Haley had this whole trip planned to Greece. Instead, I'm having coffee with Avery and working overtime to save up for a motorcycle I've been eyeing. And honestly, I've never felt better. What would you have done if you were me? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.